Hare Krishna, Sanvanani, Malang, Mulweni. Hope that everyone is doing well on this beautiful Ekadashi day, on this beautiful Tuesday. I personally am extremely exhausted. So if I do anything funny today, please forgive me. I'm giving you a disclaimer in the very beginning. But I hope that everyone is doing well today and the whole week, throughout the week. We've had such a lovely start to the week. Kicking us off was Kulafela Prabhu with a beautiful reading of Mantra 11 yesterday. It was very lovely. Like I can't get enough of how amazing all these devotees are who are coming on here every single day and reading and like pouring their hearts out and everything that they know. I mean, you can be very selfish with all of this. This is like VIP information, top class. Like other people don't have access to all of this and we do, and we're sharing with amongst all of us. Like it's a lot. And it's amazing. It's very admirable. So, thank you to all the devotees who were reading last week. Bongisi Prabhu gave us a Sunday session. Saturday Sachi Prabhu did a Ask a Monk. We had Itu on Wednesday. We had Books of the Basis book club on Thursday. It was an amazing session. Where were you? Like, if you weren't there, what were you doing? And then, yeah, those are the readers that we had last week. We also had DJ Atma Tatpa Prabhu and the ones and twos leading us in, linking us out, giving us great visuals. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Like, we don't thank you enough because you're in the background, but thank you so much. Like, all of this could not be possible without your DJing and Savi Sachi Prabhu's DJing in the background. So, thank you so much. Today, we are going to be reading Mantra 11 of the Sri Isopanisad. You can get it at www.wusa.online or on Database. Those are the places you can get it. So as you're reading along with us, we are sharing the screen from Database. But you can always visit the Wusa house, www.wusa.online, wusa108.online. So we'll start. We'll start with our invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Alrighty, let's go. Chapter 12. Alright, Mantra 12. Anandam Taham Pravisanti Ya Sam Bhutani Upasta Dato Bhuya Evatam Damo Ya U Sa Bhutyam Rata Anandam ignorance Taham darkness Parasanti enter into Ye those who Asam Asambhutam demigods Upastam worship Date that then that Bhuyam still more Evam like that De those Taham darkness Ye who U also Saha Sambhutayam in absolute Ratam engaged. So we have the purport, we've got the translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Those who engage in the worship of demigods enter into the darkest region of ignorance, and still more so do the worship of the impersonal absolute. The purport. The Sanskrit word asambhuti, refers to those who have no independent existence. Aso. Asambhuti is Asambhuti is the absolute personality of Godhead, also whose is absolutely independent of everything. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.2, the absolute Ooh, technical difficulties, Aski. Sorry about that. So we were at the beginning of the next, at the end of the last paragraph. The Bhagavad Gita 10.2, the absolute personality states that the absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna states, Nemi vidam surya ganya bhuvanam na me harasya yaha adam ir adir ha ohi divamni Rishnim cha sarvasya. Neither the host of the demigods nor the great sages who know my origin or opulences. For in every respect I am the source of demigods and sages. Thus Krishna is the origin of the powers and delegated to the demigods, great sages and mystics. Although they are endowed with great powers, those powers are limited, and thus it is very difficult for them to know how Krishna himself appears by his own internal potency in the form of a man. Many philosophers and great rishis or mystics try to distinguish the absolute from the relative by their tiny brain power. Srila Prabhupada is giving it to them. Tiny brain power. This can also help them reach the negative concept of the absolute truth without realizing any positive trace of the absolute. Definitions of the absolute by negation is not complete. I want to repeat that for all the philosophers. Definition of the absolute by negation is not complete. So I think therefore I am Descartes. Try again. It says here is not complete. So try again. Maybe I think therefore I read Sri Isopanisad. I don't know. Such negative definitions lead one to create a concept of one's own world, of one's own. Thus, one imagines that the absolute must be formless and without qualities. Such negative qualities are simply by the very reversal of relative material qualities, and therefore also relative. By conceiving of the absolute in this way, one can at most reach the impersonal effulgence of God, known as Brahma, but one cannot make further progress to Bhagavan or the personality of Godhead. Such mental speculations do not know that the absolute personality of Godhead is Krishna, that the impersonal Brahman is the glaring effulgence of his transcendental body, or that the Paramatma Supersoul is his all-pervading plenary representations, nor do they know that Krishna is his eternal form with transcendental qualities and eternal bliss and knowledge. These are the qualities that describe the supreme, the complete whole, as we read in the first couple of chapters. So, I mean, if they're giving it to you here and you can't get to that point by negating certain things, therefore you can't say the apple doesn't exist until I think of the apple's existence. And similarly, you can't negate God's existence to come to God's existence because God already exists. So, yeah, it's already there, and the qualities and his power and his majesty is already described here, but also the sweetness. So I mean, it's up to you at the end of the day. I don't know. The dependent demigods and great sages imperfectly consider him to be a powerful demigod, and they consider him the Brahman effulgence, and they consider the Brahman effulgence to be the absolute truth. But the devotees of Krishna, by dint of their surrender unto him and their unalloyed devotion, can know that he is the absolute person and that everything emanates from him. Such devotees continuously render loving service unto Krishna. the fund, the front head, the frontier head of everything. In the Bhagavad Gita 7:20 to 23, it is said that only unintelligent, bewildered persons driven by strong desire for sense gratification worship the demigods for temporary relief and temporary problems. Hmm. Since the living being is materially entangled, he has to be relieved from the material bondage it, internally to attain permanent relief from the spiritual plane on the spiritual plane, where eternal bliss, life and knowledge exists. Our major one, they cannot believe this. Nyazala. Sri Isopanisad therefore instructs that we should not seek temporary relief for our difficulties by worshipping the dependent demigods who can bestow only temporary benefits. Rather, we can worship the absolute personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is all attractive and who can bestow upon us complete freedom from material bondage by taking us back home, back to Godhead. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:23 that the worship of the demigods can go to the planets of the demigods. Hmm. The moon worshippers can go to the moon, the sun worshippers to the sun, and so on and etc. Modern scientists are now venturing to the moon with the help of rockets, but this is not really a new attempt. With their advanced consciousness, human beings are naturally inclined to travel to outer space and reach to the other planets, either by spaceships, mystic power, or demigod worship. See this thing, like this part, I think for me was like, like as a young child, I was so obsessed with space. I don't know what it was, but I was just like obsessed. I think I just grew up at a time where like space travel, what is that billionaire that went to space from South Africa? That guy. He went to space when I was like in grade two or something, and your the way they drilled it in at school about how cool space is, how people are going into space, how like moon landings and all of that, and to later discover that some of this could have just been pure conspiracy, like it could have been all concocted by some very poor filmed like television something, but also then later realizing that in different spiritual practices this is there, like people have been traveling to different planets, even the moon, and just interplanetary travel. Hearing about Narada Muni, the great sage, when I was in first year from the BIS, I was like super intrigued. Like we had all of this like very scientific, going into space, and then this that actually takes space travel and broadens it to from just the rocket and and then you land there and then there's nothing, just rocks, and you come back like what for, just to flex. But this is like interplanetary travel where you're sharing and engaging with other beings on the material world, but not just for like fun and games, but to remind different beings that hey, there's the supreme. And on different encounters where Narada is asked, what is Krishna doing? He's then sharing what he's doing, he's orchestrating things. And if you've read the Krishna book or you want to join us, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, on Thursdays, you'll see like how Narada is like a pot stirrer. You know that friend that likes to gossip, but he has like this transcendental type of gossip, like gossiping to like evil kings about there's a child of your sister who's going to come and kill you. You better watch out. And he's just like it's the beginning of this Leela. It started by his gossip and him telling the king that hey, your sister's going to bear a daughter who's going to bear a son, sorry, who's going to be like this, and he's going to destroy you. But the point I'm trying to make about this before I ramble is that interplanetary travel is there and not just accessible through spaceships. But is that what you really want? I think as we go on further into this chat, into this mantra, we'll realize that it is accessible, but it's also there's something far greater than it. But like I just remember as a child how this was like the ultimate thing that a human had to do, like try to get to space and be super interested and intrigued about space travel. So there's more to space travel than just a rocket ship. There are mantras and things that you can do. Um, in the Vedic scriptures, I think we're there. In the Vedic scriptures, it is said that one can reach other planets by any one of these three ways. But the most common way is by worshipping the demigods presiding over these particular planets. In this way, one can reach the moon, the moon planet, the sun planet, and even Brahmaloka, the topmost planet in the universe. However, you remember when Zuma said, listen carefully. This is me having that moment. Listen carefully to the however. All planets in the material universe are temporary residents, and the only permanent planets are the Vaikuntha Lokas. These are found in the spiritual skies where the personality of Godhead himself predominates, as Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 8:16, A Brahma Bhuvanar Loka Purnam Avaratano Rajna Mam Upatya Te Tu Katunyate Purnam Gyanam Na Vidayam. From the highest planet to the material worlds down to the lowest of all the places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never take birth again. Sri Isopanisad points out that one who worships the demigods and attains the material remains in the darkest regions of the universe. Yeah, like you can do all of this and try and reach all these planets. I mean, even with Elon Musk trying to go to Mars or like set up residence in Mars, and then what? Like, what then? Like, are you gonna go pollute it there? Are you gonna have a great time there? Like after that, and then like they should be. I don't know. Maybe it's just like I'm weird, but I always just think what happens after you've reached that like goal or that landmark of trying to get to a particular planet or trying to achieve a particular thing that seems terribly material. What's the next step? What are you bringing towards humanity? How are you benefiting people? How are you benefiting yourself? What is the growth that you're getting from going to Mars or any of these other planets if it's not to realize something far greater than yourself, or like that there is a supreme creator of all of these things? I wonder. We should have a conversation. If you know him, tell him to give me a call. We need to talk, or we need to invite him to our house to have a chat with him. But yes, let me go on before I ramble. The whole universe is covered by gigantic material elements. It is just like a coconut covered by the shell and half filled with water. Since its covering is airtight, the darkness within is dense. I wonder what it's like there by Mars. And therefore, the sun and the moon are required for illumination. Outside the universe is the vast, unlimited Brahmajyoti expansion, which is filled with Vaikuntha lokas and the biggest and highest planets. In the Brahmajyoti is Krishna Loka, or Goloka Vrindavan, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna himself, Yena Kobolwaki, resides. Lord Shri Krishna never leaves Krishna Loka, although he dwells there with his eternal associates. He is omnipresent, meaning he's everywhere at the same time, throughout the complete material and spiritual cosmic manifestation. This fact has already been explained in mantra form. So if you haven't watched mantra 4, you can just, after this video, go back and watch mantra 4. The Lord is present everywhere, just like the sun, yet he is situated in one place, just like the sun is situated in its own undeviating orbit. This is a good illustration. Do you see it? Do you see it? I think you do. The problems with life comes by solved the problems of life cannot be solved simply by going to the moon planet or some other planet above or below. Yeah, like, are you gonna solve your problems by running off to Mars? No hate to Mars, like it's probably a great place. I don't know, never been there, but like, does it solve any of the world's problems currently? Does it offer like Vedic scriptures or other scriptures that are like very heightened that will give you realization of God? What or other like philosophies that will help you become self-realized? I don't know if that was offensive. If it was, excuse, but does it give you like something higher than being here, where you have to now go set up a whole place and then get other people to do the same? Or is it just the excitement of being able to go there and then having said, oh, I went there? Oh no. It's like those people who leave a comment on Facebook or Twitter and just like, I'm first. They're like, okay, great. Like, do you want to go to Mars and be like, I was first? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a hater. But we move. The, mhm. There are many pseudo worshippers. Oh no, we're not them. Therefore, the series of Isopanisad advises us not to bother within any other destination within the dark material universe, but to try to get out of it and to reach the effulgent kingdom of God. There are many pseudo worshippers who become religious only to for the sake of name and fame. Have made Jawan daddy. Such pseudo religious do not wish to get out of the universe and to reach the spiritual skies. They only want to maintain the status quo of the material world under the garb of worshipping the Lord. The atheists and impersonalists reach such foolish pseudo-religious into the darkest regions by preaching the cult of atheism. The atheist directly denies the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the impersonalist supports the atheist by stressing that the impersonalist aspect of the Supreme Lord. Thus far, we have not come across any mantra in Sri Isopanisad in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is denied. It is said that he can run faster than anyone. Those who are running after other planets are certainly persons, and if the Lord can run faster than all of them, how can he be impersonal? How? The impersonal concept of the Supreme Lord is another form of ignorance, arising from an impersonal conception of the absolute truth. The ignorant pseudo-religious and, and the manufacturers of so-called incarnations who directly violate the Vedic injunctions are liable to enter into the darkest regions of the universe because they mislead those who follow them. These people really annoy me. Like, there are those people who are like, yeah, I am the reincarnation of so and so. So liar, show it, prove it. You just were born yesterday and all of a sudden you are a reincarnation of so and so. Stop doing that to other people. And if you're one of those people, don't do that. It's not cool. Don't. The impersonalists generally pose themselves as incarnations of God to foolish persons who have no knowledge of Vedic wisdom. If such foolish men have any knowledge at all, it is more dangerous in their hands than ignorance itself. Such impersonalists do not even worship demigods according to the scriptural recommendations. In the scriptures, there are recommendations for worshipping demigods under certain circumstances. But but at the time at some but at the same time, these scriptures state that are normal there is normally no need for this. In the Bhagavad Gita 7:23, it is clearly stated that the results derived from worshipping the demigods are not permanent, since the entire material universe is impermanent. Whatever is achieved within the darkness of material existence is also impermanent. The question is how to obtain real permanent life. The Lord states that as soon as one reaches him by devotional service, which is the one and only way to approach the personality of Godhead, to obtain. I'm laughing at myself because whenever I see this, I'm like, yeah, why? Sawonani nje thina emhlabeni bawo. But it's there, it's stated. And in any case, like, we're giving service to so many things: our phones, the internet, engaging with so many different people, our pets, our plants. Like, we're doing it anyway, it's just not there scripturally. So I think there's that thing psychologically where it's like when you're told what to do, you don't want to do it. And I guess maybe I'm still stuck in that position where it's like, don't tell me what to do, I'll do what I want. And then you find yourself here again and you're like, how? But yeah, it is what it is. Oh, I even forgot my place. I'm gonna start from since. Since the entire material universe is oh no, this is definitely way far. The Lord states that as soon as one reaches Him by devotional service, which is the one and only way to approach the personality of Godhead, one attains complete freedom by from the bondage of birth and death. In other words, the path of salvation from the material clutches fully depends on the principle of knowledge and detachment gained from serving the Lord. The pseudo religious have neither knowledge nor detachment from material affairs, for most of them want to live in the golden shackles of material bondage under the shadow of philanthropic activity, disguised as religious principles. Hey, baning, these ones. But a false By a false display of religious sentiment, they present a show of devotional service while indulging in all sorts of immoral activity. In this way, they pass as spiritual masters and devotees of the Lord, of God. Such violators of religious principles have no respect for authoritative acharya and holy teachers in the strict disciplic succession. They ignore the Vedic injunction of Acharyopasana. One must worship the Acharya, and Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 4:2, Evam parampara parapatam. The supreme science of God is received through the disciplic succession. Instead, to mislead the people in general, they themselves become so-called acharyas, but they do not even follow the principle of the acharya. Those rogues are the most dangerous elements in human society because there is no religious government. They escape punishment by the law of the state. They cannot, however, the law can escape the laws of the Supreme, who has clearly declared in the Bhagavad Gita that envious demons in the garb of religious propagandists shall be thrown into the darkest regions of hell. Bhagavad Gita 16:19-20. Sri Isopanisad confirms that those pseudo-religious are headed are heading towards the most obnoxious place in the universe after the completion of their spiritual master's business, which they conduct simply for sense gratification. Run, demon, run. That's what I have to say to those people. This is a beautiful reading. Mantra 12. They all um the lightning doesn't want me to prosper. Maybe it's trying to say something about myself. I don't know. Maybe I am one of the demons that should be running. Who knows? But it is clearly stated that those who are preaching a pseudo religion or who are trying to deviate people from God and God's activities, that there's a special place coming your way or you are going to. So be careful. This was not to preach fear, I think, to people, but this is to say, I think, like that is said in the purport, that there is no government that can persecute people who are religious for the activities that they do, that they conduct. So no one's going to go into the church, the synagogue, the mosque, the temple, and say, you have preached wrong, therefore under the state we have, you have violated this action, and therefore you are going to be thrown in jail. Unless you do something that is against the state, then you will be persecuted. But those who are preaching against the will of God, and those who are preaching some pseudo religion and some way to achieve God by doom and petrol and eating grass and all sorts of things, yeah, there's a special place for you. But also, there's a verse in the Bible where Jesus says, my people will perish because of the lack of knowledge. It is very important for one to empower themselves through reading and through knowledge. And this goes for every single religion. Don't think that you're in a place that people like you are comfortable and then you can sit and just hear and take in what they are saying. Go and find out for yourself. Go confirm what they have said for yourself. Ask what verse, what chapter, what book, so that no one may mislead you. This is very important information because anyone can say anything and make it look very real. So always ask. And I think someone who's pure and has pure intentions won't feel offended by someone asking, oh, really? So, what verse can I find that? What chapter can I find that? In what book does this information that you're sharing with me exist? That way, you also are not misled. You don't have any confusion. You can go corroborate what they say, and it can also sit with you because once you've read it, there's this like psychological study that was done about like reading, touching something, or even like from like your phone or book, and you reading it in your mind or out loud, that it stays in your brain somehow. So make sure that whatever you are being told, you go back and double check and read and reread. Write it down in your notes on your phone, write it down on a little piece of paper and go back and read it to make sure that you're not fooled by people who might tell you something. Sometimes they don't do it maliciously. Sometimes maybe they have heard someone say it and then they are saying it to you to try and, maybe back to Tuza, or they're trying to encourage you about something. Go back and read and make sure that what they're saying is what is in the books, and you can corroborate it with the philosophy that is being spread by Srila Prabhupada. Um, that is all from me today. I'll be taking some questions, and if there are no questions, then I will be saying good night. Um, Oh, there's a special project that Narottam Prabhu is doing in Hamanskrao of a gigantic, what are they called, billboard, where for Gita month and for Gita week, which starts tomorrow, yippee, December, he's planning on getting this gigantic billboard, and on it will be Srila Prabhupada, will be the Bhagavad Gita and Science of Self-Realization. And all it needs, because it's already done, it just needs a little bit of this, some surveys. Like, just put something in the tiki box, if we all commit to a little bit of something, nothing big, something like, let's start at 108 Rand. If we can all just like start at 108 Rand, I'm sure we'll reach the goal. But of course, 108 is like bare minimum. It's like scraping the bottom, but you can definitely do more. So if you want to go and see that, I saw it on his Facebook page, so you can visit. I think it's Narottam Das on Facebook, and you can see his activities there. It's a very beautiful project, so I hope we can all contribute and make that giant billboard a reality. I am not seeing any questions on the screen. I'm sure they're still coming. Oh, there we go. Musa 108. Thank you for the point about interplanetary travel not being just visiting empty desert lands, by, but that there are many other living conditions and beings. This is very true. I don't want to go into that because I know some people may be like, oh, what do you mean? But there are people who are living on all these planets. Like, if they're saying if you worship the sun, you can go to the sun, but there are people and other conditioned living beings who are on the sun living there. And like I was talking about going to read, go and read and corroborate what I'm saying, or disprove what I'm saying. There are people who are living on the moon. There are people who live on all these different planets. There are already inhabitants in these planets, and there are demigods presiding over these planets. So, yeah, thank you for that point, Wusa 108. It's a great point. And if you want to go to these desert planets, you can, or you can visit Goloka Vrindavan just through devotional service. Something so easy, like chump change, just a little bit of devotional service, and you're getting this huge thing. It's a bargain. Believe you me, it's a bargain. I'm joking. I'm not. It's a bargain. Any more questions? If not, then it is good night from me. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope to see you again next week on Tuesday. I'll be reading. Tomorrow we have the lovely Itu, and we have Books of the Basis Book Club on Thursday. Don't miss it. It's amazing. On Friday we have Hosi Prabhu. On Saturday we have Sadia Sachi Prabhu with Ask a Monk, and on Sunday we'll have Bonisipa Prabhu. Monday we started off again with Prabhu Kulafelo. Thank you so much. It was very lovely to share this reading with you. Um, we've got a comment from Itu that says, "Thank you, Nomusa. Thank you for the talks." I don't know what it means, but thank you so much. Thank you, Itu. We'll see you tomorrow with Itu's session. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Wusa 108. Like and comment under our wisdom readings on Facebook and on Twitter and on YouTube. Ooh, we don't have a Twitter yet. On YouTube. And yeah, share with all your friends. I'm sure they'll be very happy to see other different faces sharing different knowledge. So don't be embarrassed, share. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm wishing you a wonderful, wonderful week. Join us on Sunday for Wusa Sunday morning inspiration sessions. Those are always amazing. Come through, join us, and we'll see you tomorrow. But for me, you'll see me on Tuesday. Hare Krishna. Oh, it was an emoji. Oh, okay. I'll check it out on Facebook or on YouTube. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Have a lovely night. Sonbona Ngeliksai.
The Science of Self-Realization is a great book, and I know everybody suggests that, but my suggestion will come with the added caveat of reading Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. I think the reason those two books matter for me is because they were always searching, right? One of the types of people that Krishna attracts are people who are searching. And for people who are searchers, who search for truth, who search for more, who search for service, who search for a life that's bigger than them, those are the two books that answer that. That's me.